And the Bears trade up to number 11 with the New York Giants, probably because the Giants lost their wide receiver in Devonta Smith there. But the Bears trade up to take Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. I know my family in Chicago is probably very excited about this. Any Bears fan probably is. It's definitely better than Mitch Trubisky when they made that terrible trade. I said it then. Why would you take Mitch Trubisky? He doesn't have any experience. It was just a terrible pick, the worst. And now you get Justin Fields, who he has experience. He played for a good program in Ohio State. He played in a college football playoff as the starter for Ohio State. He's not guaranteed to be good, but in terms of taking a quarterback when you really need a quarterback, this is the guy you want, a guy with potential, a guy who's been in big games, a guy who's shown that he can make plays in clutch situations. And when you look at him mechanics-wise, way better than Mitch Trubisky coming out of college. They're getting someone who actually has mechanics. The one thing I always said is everyone said Trubisky came out of a pro system. He had no mechanics, and you saw what happened. His throws were not accurate at all. I think Fields is way more accurate. Fields is a dual threat, but he's also a pocket passer. I think that he has the tools to succeed in the NFL. So now the question is, will the Bears build around him? Will they get him the weapons he needs to succeed? I mean, he's got Allen Robinson. He's got some decent guys. Will they revamp their offensive line to help him? The fact that Fields fell this far, I understand this trade, and I think it's a way better trade than the one they made with San Francisco a couple of years ago to get Trubisky. I have no qualms about this move. I think it's a good move. You got to take a chance. You need a quarterback to win. It's one of the most important positions, and they certainly didn't have that. Andy Dalton wasn't about to light up scoreboards. So I just have to say that this is definitely a big-time pick for the Chicago Bears, and my family should be pretty excited about it. And we get the 12th pick in the NFL draft this year. The Dallas Cowboys select Micah Parsons, a linebacker out of Penn State. And, of course, I'm guessing that they wanted to get a cornerback, but they get a guy that they compare to Miles Jack, a very good inside-outside linebacker. We're talking about someone that, he's got a very powerful lower body, so he's able to kind of drive. I think that he's got some speed and burst as well, so he can do some coverage. He can do some blitzes. He's definitely a very good tackler. There's not a lot of film where he's tackles are being broken on him, and he plays for Penn State, meaning that he's going up against run first teams. Essentially, a lot of those teams are run first with big offensive linemen, and he's able to make some pretty big tackles there. I think that because he can drop into coverage, make tackles, play the run and the pass, he's going to be very versatile for the Dallas Cowboys here. And even though they don't get their cornerback, they're getting a very good defensive player. And they traded, so they ended up getting some picks later in the draft as well, because they traded down. So this isn't a bad pick. I mean, it's kind of what they were looking for. The only other thing I'd say that maybe they could get is more offensive linemen, and there's a couple on the board, but taking a very good linebacker is definitely not going to hurt your team. Jerry Jones is probably going to hurt your team more than taking a very good linebacker. So, I think it's a pretty good pick. I'd give this pick a B+. And the 13th pick in the NFL draft is in, and the LA Chargers take Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, an offensive tackle. I love this pick. Slater is a very good offensive tackle. Predominantly a left tackle. You're protecting your quarterback, your big guy. Justin Herbert, who put up some pretty amazing numbers last year for a mediocre team. You definitely need to get offensive linemen to protect your quarterback. They do have some weapons. I think this goes a long way for their offense, and it definitely goes a long way in fantasy, because when you're thinking of what Justin Herbert was able to do in the couple of games he didn't do well, it was because he didn't have a lot of time. He was kind of forced to make plays, and guys couldn't get open in time. Getting a good left tackle, maybe he has more time. Maybe he can do more, and that could be huge for both the Chargers and in the NFL sense. Especially since they're in a very tough division and they definitely need to score points. But also in a fantasy sense, where Herbert might be putting up even more monster numbers like he did in his rookie season. So I definitely have to say that this pick is a very good pick. I give this pick an A. You're getting a Big Ten offensive lineman, usually very good lineman coming out of the Big Ten. You're protecting your quarterback, who's a big young prospect with a lot of potential. You can't go wrong. And the 14th pick is in, and guess what, folks? We have another trade, and this one is going to leave, I think, a bad taste in people's mouths. Because the Vikings trade out of the 14th pick to the New York Jets. And who do the New York Jets take? They take Alijah Vera-Tucker, a very good guard out of USC, bolstering the Jets line. Obviously, the Jets took a quarterback earlier, getting a lineman, pretty standard. You have to say that the Jets are doing very good in the draft. Vera-Tucker is a very versatile lineman. He's a guy that can kind of play all over you. Like he's a guard, but he's got a frame to do some things. And I think that he can play multiple positions and certainly give you a chance to have a very good offensive lineman. He's very good on double team blocks. We're talking about guys 6'4.5", 308 pounds. I mean, this guy is a beast. And the 15th pick in the NFL draft is in the New England Patriots. Surprise, surprise, with Mac Jones, the Alabama quarterback, falling to number 15. The Patriots snatch him up, and they need a quarterback. Cam Newton is not their answer at quarterback. You saw what happened last year. He just doesn't have enough to succeed in their offense. They just don't have enough around him. Cam Newton does not fit, really. And now they get Mac Jones, 6'3", 217 pounds, coming out of Alabama. We're talking about a guy that national champion. This is a guy that definitely has above average accuracy, and really they compare him to Daniel Jones, and we don't know about Daniel Jones yet, but it's one of those things where, is he going to succeed? We don't know, but they needed to take a chance. If they're not going to trade for a Garoppolo or someone like that, they needed to take a chance. And this is a guy that he's very good at avoiding pressure in the pocket, which goes well. He's essentially almost like Tom Brady in that sense. And he's accurate. That's something Bill Belichick is going to love. He knows how to not make a mistake. He knows how to essentially throw the ball away when you need him to. Another thing that Bill Belichick is going to love. He hates turnovers. He would rather have a guy just get them down the field, get them a chance to score, don't turn it over, and then let his defense make plays to get him wins. That's how Bill Belichick coaches. That's how Tom Brady succeeded when he was young in his career. And wasn't necessarily the greatest quarterback in his first couple of years. It was because of that kind of style. And I think Mac Jones fits that perfectly. And, the Patriots kind of get a steal here, in my opinion. I didn't think Jones would fall this far, and he did. So reacting now to the 16th pick in the NFL draft by the Arizona Cardinals. They take Zaven Collins from Tulsa, a linebacker, another linebacker off the board. What's funny is, Collins is a guy who was a quarterback in high school as well as a linebacker, so he understands that position. So they're getting a guy that can play defense and sort of play the quarterback of the defense role, that kind of middle linebacker type role. He's definitely smart enough for that kind of a role, and he also has a lot of size and athleticism for a linebacker. It's kind of a crazy combination when you look at it. With 6'5", 259 pounds. I mean, the guy is built to be very good. They compare him to Leighton Vander Esch, When you're comparing him to current NFL players, I think that he reads the quarterback very well. He can definitely make plays. He definitely had some interceptions as a linebacker. For Tulsa, he definitely can jump off the block as well. He's got some burst. He can track down running backs. He's a very good run stopper. Um, if you look at some of his best plays, a lot of it was second effort. So he's definitely a guy that gives you that second effort. The number 17th pick in the draft, the Las Vegas Raiders take Alex Leatherwood, an Alabama offensive tackle. So we get another offensive lineman off the board. 6'5", 312 pounds. The guy obviously has the frame. His is kind of early for him. A lot of people had him going in the second round. But so when you look at his frame and just how his arms could extend, he's definitely someone that he's got the prototype to be a very good NFL offensive tackle. But he does have some things that he has to correct. When you look at his consistent execution, it wasn't all that great. But he's a good blocker. It makes you wonder why he was picked this early. And I mean, John Gruden, I'm guessing, loved him or something. That's usually what happens with his teams when they take guys like this. Getting a lineman isn't going to hurt. It's never going to hurt. But this pick doesn't really jump off as like some amazing pick to me anyway. We get to the 18th pick in the draft, and we get the Miami Dolphins taking Jaelyn Phillips out of Miami. So sticking to the Miami local things going on. This guy was a standout edge rusher. He definitely has the skills to do something in the NFL. And the Dolphins are just, they keep trying to get talent on their team. They've had a lot of first round picks the last couple of years, and they're trying to make a push. You can tell they think that this is their time to take over the AFC East division when you look at this team that they're trying to put out there. So if their offense can make plays, they got someone, they got a weapon for Tua Tagovailoa. Now they get an edge rusher. Obviously pass rushers, quarterbacks, left tackles, those are some important positions to make plays. And this is a guy that he's got the physical attributes, like I said. So he's got flexibility. He can accelerate into the edge. He has, he's a guy that has crazy statistics when you think about 11 tackles for a loss and over 6 sacks in his final 4 games. So you can see that he kind of got stronger as the year went on. So it makes you wonder if they work with him, maybe he can do more. He's got very good burst to close against a quarterback. And when you look at the AFC East now, you're going to have rookie quarterbacks going for a lot of these teams. Some of these teams might hold their rookie quarterbacks, like the Patriots might start Cam Newton at first and then go to Mac Jones. But you're going to have a lot of rookie quarterbacks in there. And I mean, Buffalo, obviously, they got Josh Allen. Buffalo is a team that everybody's probably going to pick to win the division next year. But can Josh Allen repeat what he did? And if you're going to be able to compete with a Josh Allen, maybe you need to force him to run, force him to make bad plays. And an edge rusher is the way to do that. And I think that this pick is very good for Miami. And the 19th pick in the draft is in with the Washington football team, taking Jamin Davis of Kentucky, another linebacker. So you're finally seeing some defensive players really fly off the board here. This is a guy with a lot of athleticism inside. He's 6 foot 3.5, 234 pounds. So he's obviously got the build to be a pretty decent big linebacker. He's done well. One of the big things to talk about here is, the Washington football team, they're looking for someone who can probably play, special teams as well. This guy definitely did some things. He had a block kick, defensive touchdown. He's got on this stat sheet in ways that you might not always see. So obviously it shows that he can make some plays. He's very good when it comes to his vision, I feel, when you look at him play. When you look at his film, he can definitely he sees what's happening and he can quickly adjust and then get a tackle for you. Coverage recognition, I think that that's very important as well, because it's not always can you get to the quarterback, it's can you knock passes down, can you get into passing lanes. And one thing you see with Jamin Davis is he's got a pretty good radius. He can make plays, he can make interceptions, and he can bat the ball down on some of those quick throws. And again, he's going to be playing in the NFC East. You got Dak Prescott coming back from an injury, expected to continue to be explosive when he's healthy with the Dallas Cowboys, who have a lot of weapons on offense. The Giants are, everybody thinks they might take a step forward with Daniel Jones. I guess that we'll see about that. And then the Philadelphia Eagles might be up and coming with Jalen Hurts, and they just got him some weapons in this draft. So, when you look at it, I think this pick is probably good for them to at least keep up. Can Washington, continue to make runs at winning divisions and things like that, like they just did? Probably not. I mean, the NFC East, you would think, if the Cowboys do what they're supposed to do, should be theirs. Everybody says that every year it seems. But if Dak Prescott is healthy all year, you think that the Cowboys have it. The Giants, you would think that they would be better, But this taking Jamin Davis, I think, keeps Washington at least in there, because no one has shown that they're going to get over mediocrity anytime soon. So you might as well get some playmakers and possibly get a couple of plays that turns the tides, especially in those division games. So I think it's a pretty good pick. And we get to the 20th pick in the NFL draft, and the New York Giants get a wide receiver, just probably not the one they were hoping to get. They get Kadarius Toney out of Florida, another SEC guy. And, you have to... this guy comes out of Alabama's high school system, so this is another Alabama product, even though he didn't play for Alabama. He's got some pretty good acceleration. He can change direction as well with his route running. He's got some work to do, obviously, but he has a lot of value, especially he can run complex route systems, and he could definitely catch over-the-shoulder passes as well. When you look at his frame, it's pretty decent, 6 foot, 193 pounds. They compare him to Harry Douglas. He was a guy that might have fell to the second round as well, but the Giants really wanted a wide receiver. They didn't get the guy they want. They traded down. They decided to take this guy, and I don't think that that's so bad. I mean, they lost out because the Eagles traded up, so there's nothing really you can do about that. So I think that they did what they needed to do. This is a guy that could also break tackles, so he's a guy that could get yards after the catch. It should help them. I mean, they're just trying to get weapons for Daniel Jones so that he could possibly reach the potential they hope that he can reach. I'm not sure he can, but the division is very mediocre, so getting any kind of guy that could possibly make plays could be the difference with you winning the division or not. All right, now the 21st pick in the NFL draft comes out. The Indianapolis Colts take Kwity Paye, a edge rusher out of Michigan. So we get another Big Ten player here. This guy's 6 foot 2.5, 261 pounds. This is a guy that they expected to go in the first round. They compare him to Emmanuel Ogbah. Whenever you get a guy that was a team captain, that's going to be huge, because he's going to work a lot. He's going to work hard. He's going to do his thing. He's going to be determined to make plays, and you need that. But this guy also has skills. He's explosive. He has quickness and agility, especially in short area places, and that's huge for an edge rusher, because they really don't have a lot of space to work with. You got to beat your block, and you have to get to the quarterback. I mean, that's your job. So that's huge. So the Colts get a big time edge rusher, and I feel like this tends to be an MO for the Colts. They really like to have, essentially, they've been building their teams like this for years. They even did it with Peyton Manning. They like to play with a lead, and they got work to do, obviously, because their quarterback obviously retired. But when they like to play with a lead, and then when they have the lead, they release their pass rushers. And these guys, you know, in the past, these guys really did well with that strategy. You get any kind of lead. I'm guessing they're going to try to use their running game and things like that. I mean, they do need a quarterback, so we'll see what happens there. But you know, in terms of getting a good explosive guy who's going to rush the passer, they got him here. This is a guy that's quick and can shed blocks. That's exactly what you want. He's also a good shuffler. And at the same time, he's got pursuit speed, so he can chase down guys. He can stop the run. He can stop the short pass game if you need him to help out. He could also chase down the quarterback if he rolls out. The Colts are going to struggle if they can't get a quarterback and they can't get a consistent offense. But if they can play defense, they might be able to keep the game close and not get blown out.